Have you ever wondered why some people become wealthier every year without working longer hours? The answer isn't that they work harder. It's that they own more. Ownership is one of the biggest differences between people who build wealth and people who spend their entire lives working for money. Most people are taught to earn. Very few are taught to own. In this video, you'll discover why ownership creates wealth, why the rich focus on buying assets instead of simply earning income, and how ownership has helped ordinary people build extraordinary financial success over time. Let's begin. Imagine two people. The first person works 40 hours every week and earns a paycheck. The second person also works, but slowly builds ownership in productive assets. Over time, those assets begin generating income even while that person sleeps. Years later, the difference becomes enormous. The first person still depends entirely on a paycheck. The second person owns businesses, investments, or other assets that continue growing in value. This is the power of ownership. Ownership means having a claim on something that can grow, produce income, or increase in value over time. Instead of only selling your time for money, you begin owning things that work for you. This simple shift changes everything. Think about some of the world's largest companies. Millions of people buy their products every day. The customers spend money. The owners build wealth. When you own part of a successful business through investments, you benefit from its growth. As the business earns more, your ownership can become more valuable over time. This is one reason many wealthy people invest instead of keeping all their money in cash. Cash can lose purchasing power over time. Ownership in productive assets has the potential to grow. Another important lesson is the difference between consumers and owners. Consumers spend money. Owners build value. Consumers buy products. Owners may own the companies that sell those products. Every economy rewards ownership because ownership creates long-term participation in growth. Imagine buying a small piece of a business that continues expanding for many years. As sales increase, as profits grow, as the business becomes more valuable, your ownership grows alongside it. That's the advantage of thinking like an owner instead of only thinking like a consumer. Ownership isn't limited to large corporations. Some people own rental properties. Others own small businesses. Some create digital products. Others invest in diversified funds that own hundreds of companies. Different paths. The same principle. Ownership. Many people believe wealth comes only from earning a high salary. But history has shown that income alone doesn't automatically create wealth. Someone can earn a large paycheck and spend nearly all of it. Another person may earn less but consistently purchase productive assets. Years later, the second person may become financially stronger because ownership continues creating value. Time makes ownership even more powerful. Assets have the opportunity to appreciate. Investments may grow. Businesses can expand. Income generated from those assets can be reinvested to acquire even more ownership. This creates a cycle where wealth begins building upon itself. This is why patient investors often benefit from long-term ownership. Another mistake many people make is believing they need enormous amounts of money before they can become owners. In reality, ownership often begins with small, consistent steps. Regular investing, building valuable skills, starting a small business, creating something useful. The size of the first step matters far less than the decision to begin. Ownership also changes the way people think. Instead of asking, "What can I buy?" owners ask, "What can I build? What can I invest in? What can create value for years to come?" That mindset alone can completely transform financial decisions. Successful people also understand that ownership requires patience. Businesses don't become successful overnight. Investments don't multiply overnight. Real wealth usually grows quietly, slowly, consistently. The people who stay patient often experience the greatest rewards. Another advantage of ownership is financial freedom. When your assets begin producing income, you become less dependent on a single paycheck. Instead of relying entirely on your time, you begin relying on systems you've built. That's one of the biggest goals of wealth building. Creating income that doesn't depend solely on hours worked. Ownership also creates opportunity for future generations. Assets can continue producing value long after they're created. This is one reason many families focus on building ownership instead of simply increasing income. They're thinking beyond today. They're thinking about tomorrow. So remember this: working for money is important. But ownership is what allows money to work for you. The wealthiest people aren't simply bigger earners. They're often bigger owners. They own productive assets. They own investments. They own businesses. They own systems that continue creating value year after year. If you want to build lasting wealth, begin thinking less like a consumer and more like an owner. Focus on creating value. Focus on acquiring productive assets. Focus on long-term thinking, because ownership isn't just about possessing something, it's about participating in future growth. And that's why ownership has created more wealth than almost any other financial principle in history. The sooner you understand this, the sooner you stop working only for money and start building a future where your money works for you.